In today's video, we'll be talking about what happened to all the sons of the Emperor of Mankind. We're not talking about these sons, though. We all know who and what happened to most of the primarchs. No, we're going to be discussing the Emperor's biological sons. Yes, the Emperor of Mankind did have real sons. At least he did until GW retconned it. Did you really expect a 12-foot-tall absolute Chad not to pull bitches? And considering he can psychically project anything, I could probably imagine something else that was 12 foot long. The guy has lived for tens of thousands of years as a rich, good-looking, tall, all-knowing god in a form of a human. His body count is through the roof, and he's probably had his way with a number of beautiful women throughout human history, from Cleopatra all the way to Marilyn Monroe. Hell, he's probably even had a taste of your mom. That being said, the Emperor protects, but he doesn't use protection, and with his godlike seed, who knows how many children he's sired throughout the ages. He's probably competing with Genghis Khan for humanity's greatest daddy. So, what happened to all these demigod spawns? Well, GW named these kids the Sensei. A lot of the Sensei were raised by single moms. In fact, the mothers weren't even aware that the father of their children was the Emperor of Mankind. These kids were raised unaware of their ancestral lineage, and lots of them grew up as regular-ass humans. But as some of them got older, they started realizing that they weren't normal. A lot of them stopped aging once they reached adulthood, and some awakened psychic powers. This aroused suspicion within human communities, and many of the Sensei were burned at the stake as witches or other demons. The smart ones ran away and tried to blend in with human society. They took a page out of their dad's playbook. Over time, the Sensei would find each other and form adventurer bands. They would go on adventures saving the common folk, kind of like the Robin Hood of 40K. They also were super inclusive and all about diversity. They were friendly with most Xenos, and were particularly fond of Eldar Harlequins, like our boy Roboute Guilliman. The Sensei had such a strong relationship with the Eldar that they allowed them access to their black library. Now, not every one of the Emperor's kids became a Sensei. But if they did awaken their powers, then all of them became immortal and couldn't die from old age. Keep in mind, they weren't perpetuals and could still die if someone killed them, like if they got their heads cut off. In addition, they were very powerful psychers because they were blessed with the Emperor's ability to shield themselves from the corruption of chaos. Their minds were zen and devoid of any hate or irrational wrath. In other words, the Sensei could dig deep into the warp to draw more power without the influence of the chaos gods. In fact, they were pretty much invisible to the ruinous powers. But being the kids of Big E, their powers don't stop there. They can essentially be further buffed if they continued protecting the innocent against chaos. In time, they'd gain favor with the Starchild, which is a shard of the Emperor's soul that was lost during the fight with Horus Lupercal. For Sensei that have proven their worth, the Starchild will bless them with the Mark of the Star. This mark is overpowered as fuck and provides a wide range of different powers. To be honest, this is probably why GW deleted Sensei from the lore altogether, because it's too strong. To give you an idea, there's one power called the Redeemer. When a Sensei defeats an enemy of chaos, they have an option to show them mercy. The enemy will be wowed by the grace of their savior, and the corruption will melt away. This will then cause them to transform back to their original selves. And if you think that's strong, wait until you hear about this. If the Sensei continued this journey of righteousness, they could ascend to demigodhood. The Starchild will recognize your virtues and summon you to this weird realm, where you're told of your relationship with the Emperor of Mankind. Once you've accepted it, you are given divine powers and are returned to the real world, where you're now a Sensei Master and in charge of spreading the will of Big E. Now, not all of the Sensei were good guys. Some of them had some daddy issues, and decided to join the dark side. The messed up part is, technically the Sensei are incorruptible and inherently resistant to chaos. So, if a Sensei decided to join the ruinous powers, it meant they were doing it literally because they wanted to. They were just assholes. These guys were known as the Gray Sensei. Instead of becoming humanity's shield, they dedicated their life to trying to destroy it. Other Sensei were recruited to the Illuminati. I don't have to explain who they are. The Illuminati in 40K were dedicated to fighting the Chaos Gods. With the Sensei being naturally resistant to corruption, they ended up being key weapons in their war. But the Illuminati had a hidden reason for the gathering of the Sensei. The secret society knew their father was the Emperor. The Illuminati being wacky and cultish, believed that the blood of the senseis could revive the emperor. Their secret plan was to sacrifice them when the emperor died so that he could be resurrected. All sensei, regardless of affiliation, were hunted by the Inquisition. The Inquisition hated these mofos because they associated themselves with Xenos and mutants. Some even had the balls to proclaim themselves as sons of the emperor. Good luck trying to convince the Inquisition. That was just heresy. The Imperium considered sensei as dangerous mutants and treated them as such. Many of them were chased to near extinction. Most of them were wiped out on some outback planet by the Salamander Space Marines. Kind of poetic that the Diversity Space chapter was the one responsible for wiping out the most inclusive group of individuals in 40K. Anyway, there's rumors that some sensei survived the massacre and live on in the 41st millennium, but GW has implied that the sensei are basically no longer canon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's any specific 40K lore, topics, or conversations you'd like me to discuss, please feel free to drop a comment below.